When I say this, that means production was supposed to be optimally used. When we talk about 1991, that is called liberalization, privatization, and globalization, he has identified 6 schools of theory, and it is all his thoughts. Men may go, men may come. But here what happens is management will stay. The reason is it is pervasive. Hello everybody, a warm welcome to one and all. I'm Abhilash Chandra from the Department of Commerce and Management in Vidyashram First Grade College, the Temple of Excellence. Welcome to the next session, and here in this session we're going to talk something more about the history of management. That is, you will understand when and who all are the pioneers of management and why management is so much very important in the 19th century itself. Now, right now we are in the 21st century, but let me tell you, when the Industrial Revolution was started, there was a question, what exactly the Industrial Revolution is all about? Let me just tell you, Industrial Revolution means it is just a replacement. Now, what is it? A replacement. So, replacement of what exactly it is? It is like man was replaced with machine. When I say this, that means production was supposed to be optimally used. That is, you need to produce optimally. And the resources, the raw material, whatever were there, they were supposed to be used optimally. So, optimum development, optimum production, and optimum usage of all the raw material and the products was supposed to be done in the Industrial Revolution, and they did it. The reason behind it is all about the management. Here, the pioneers of the management, when I say that, their principles, their theories, their scientific management and the general management really helped the entire world for the coming of Industrial Revolution. Though Industrial Revolution in the history, we always go with the France, they started it, the UK, they actually took it, the Germany also went for it. But the reality is, whenever you go with any Industrial Revolution of any country, right, there is somebody who has taken from somebody else. That is, there is a slow adaptation of the theories and the principles of these pioneers. Now, we have the great personalities like Henry Fayol. Now, Henry Fayol is the father of general management, as well as when you understand his principles, you will get to know that the 19th and the 20th century principles are even now practiced in the 21st century. That means they have some kind of methodology where the management has been used by so many people, and still there are many people who are using it. We have a person called Frederick Winslow Taylor. Now, Frederick Winslow Taylor is the father of scientific management. He and his associates have given the techniques of work study, time study, fatigue studies. Now, all these studies will enhance the new management principles, and they will update whatever the scientific management was. And now the Industrial Revolution, whichever had adapted scientific management, even they got to know that these are the principles which we need to use in our industry so that the optimum production will actually happen. The same way, we have people like Kuntz and O'Donnell. Now, Kuntz and O'Donnell are the new name for you people, but I'll tell you students, management is all about learning what the pioneers have actually taught us. Now, what is that you should do is, you need to research about the pioneers of management as well as the management gurus. Only then you will understand better what exactly management is. Management is not just an art of getting things done through others. See, understand here, getting things done from others, that too efficiently, effectively, is a very big task. Nowadays, you will get people who will work, but you need to actually get the most efficient work done from them. That is what the art is. And here there are a set of principles, there are a set of schools which have actually introduced what are the types of management we can learn. In this session, we're going to learn about the schools, that is what exactly we have gone with. Okay, so the schools of management thoughts we will learn in this chapter, in this session. The first thing is the development of thought on management date back to the days when people first attempted to accomplish goals. What is it? When they wanted to actually get the things done by working together in groups. You need to understand that whenever human are working together, what will happen is clashes will happen, ego will be there, their anger will be there, love is there, emotion is there, so many other kind of things are there. But you need to aim to accomplish a goal. When you aim for accomplishing a goal, what happens is you need to have a proper coordination, a proper functions of management, that is planning, organizing, staffing, directing, controlling, communication, coordination, everything you really needed. So that is why we need to know that what exactly the different schools of thoughts have told about management. Next is with the work of Frederick and Taylor, that is Frederick Winslow Taylor and Henry Fayol, there was serious thinking of theorizing about managing many years before. That means before that also, like Henry Fayol, F.W. Taylor, people used to manage it. But what has been the difference after Henry Fayol and F.W. Taylor have given their thoughts about management? So in early 19th century, when I say 19th century, please understand, there are these three era where you people need to know, as a management, as a commerce student, as a BBA students or the BCom students, you should know about it. Whenever we go with the 19th century, it's all about the industrial revolution. When we talk about 1991, that is called liberalization, privatization and globalization. Here also management is needed. Whenever you go with LPG, liberalization, privatization and globalization, only because of the era of management has been updated, we are also updating so many other policies. That is how it works. In the early 19th century, industrialization and the factory system, you need to understand, the factory system saw the advent of assembly line operation and costing system. Whenever we go with it, the costing system was so much. Management principles in business were adapted in the later half of 19th century. That means the system of management principles, right? Before that, there was only what? Industrial revolution. That means replacement of human being with machine. That means you need to produce more. Machines can produce more with a similar character, but when it comes to the human made, what happens is each and every product will have slight differences. So they wanted to have a unique product. That's why men were replaced with machines. And after that, half of the 19th century, what happened is now the management was brought by the management principles, and then they started to work. So let's check Kuhn's theory. Kuhn is also a person who was very brilliant with his management skills and the way he has given theories. Now he has identified 6 schools of theory, and it is all his thoughts. So what he has observed, he is just giving you the things. The first one is the management process school. Management process school. One by one we'll go with what are the schools, what exactly it actually tells you, what will be the change in the future. Everything we'll discuss in this session. Next is the empirical schools. See, all these schools here, there are some qualities, differences, similarities, right? The third one here is the human behavioral school. That means human behavior is also a part of management. You need to understand their mood swings, their emotions, their behavior, their character. It also depends on the environment which they are living. Then we have social system school. Here the first is what? The management process school. Now we have the same kind of a thing, that the social system school. Then we have something called the decision theory school. Now this decision theory school, the word itself says, it gives you an example of how will you decide by choosing the alternative course of action. There are so many alternative course of action. In that, how to actually decide which is the best source of action, and then you are supposed to go. That is what the decision theory school is all about. Then you have mathematical school, but literally just by saying that, mathematical school is not exactly a school, it is a tool. It is not a school, it is a tool. Now all these are the Kuhn's theory. Whenever you get a question like what are the contribution of Henry Fayol, what is that you do is you write the 14 principles of Henry Fayol. The same way, what are the contribution of Frederick Winslow Taylor, FW Taylor? If you get a question, you will start answering the scientific management of FW Taylor. But whenever you get the contribution of Kuhn's, what is that you should do is you should always go with this theory, that is the different school thoughts by Kuhn's, and that is how you are supposed to write the management process school, empirical school, human behavioral, social system, and then you have decision and mathematical tool. So these are the schools theory which Kuhn's have observed. So let's check one by one what exactly all these schools will explain. Now the first one is the management process school. Now here management process school, why it is called as process? Why management is called as a process? Whenever you get any question like the process, you need to understand that process in the sense it is a continuous process. When I say it is a continuous process, that means there is a progression, progressive. Now here you need to understand, whenever we deal with management, that is there are at least two people who are working, and when they are working, what happens is it is never ending. It is never ending. The reason is human needs and human wants, the way it is never ending, even management is also never ending. Men may go, men may come, but here what happens is management will stay. The reason is it is pervasive. It is pervasive in the sense universally accepted. Everywhere you have something called management. When people are working together, there is something called management, but it is intangible. Management you cannot touch, right? But you can feel it. Now here what happens is the father of general management, that is Henry Fayol. Now he is the real father of the process of management, and what he says is whenever we get any work done, what is that we do is we always go with a group organization structure, and then we go for it. You need to understand the Henry Fayol 14 principle to learn about the process of management. Now when he went with the general principles, that is your work, then the authority, responsibility, discipline, unity of command, unity of direction, scalar chain, remuneration, what exactly it is, each and everything will follow by each other. That means here there is a process. Whenever we go with any kind of a thing, now I'll give you an example. If there is a person who wants to attend an interview and he got selected in the interview, after getting selected in the interview, now he will get his work, right? Now what it is, management is a process. The first thing what the company will do is they'll give him the work, that is called division of work. Now Henry Fayol have actually told you division of work. So if you understand the 14th principle, from the first principle to the 14th principle, everything is a process, right? So what happens here is the management process school views management as a process. They have accepted that management is a process of getting things done with people, that is working in organized groups. Fathered by Henry Fayol. Who has done it? Fathered by Henry Fayol. The school views management theory as way of organizing. The first one is what? It is way of organizing. Then experience for practice. Experience for practice. That is the second one. Then research and teaching. That is the third and the fourth one. So here management is all about what? One is organizing, then it is you have experience for practice, and then you have research and teaching. It begins by defining the functions of management. That means the functions of management are what? They are, you have the functions of management called planning, organizing, then you have staffing, then you have here directing, and the last one is controlling. So these are the functions of management, and that is hence it is called as a process. So again, step by step, that is what the things are. Now let's check the other school, that is the empirical school. Now empirical school, here what happens is, according to this school, management is considered as a study of managers in practice. That means here what happens is, you need to understand whether you take MBA, MFM, or whatever, the Master of Financial Management, Master of Business Administration. Here what exactly happens is, the managers need to know what exactly the management is, right? So according to this school, management is considered as the study of managers. Who should actually study that? The managers need to study that, because who are the one? Now you need to understand the levels of management here first. When we go with levels of management, we have three stages, that is the three levels we have. One is the top level. You have what? The top level. Then you have here the middle level. You have. Then you have the last one is the supervisory level you have. So here what happens, the middle level are the people who will actually manage all the work, and the top level are the only people who will actually go with what? They'll go with decision making, planning, all those things. That is, the top level will only go with planning, but who will manage everything? The middle level will do it. And in middle level, who are the people? The managers are there. So you need to understand, it is a study of success and failure in the application of management techniques by managers in their practices. So empirical school will teach them the practicality of how to implement the thoughts of management. Sometimes you will actually end up with a failure, sometimes you will end up with a success. So you need to understand and learn from the failure, and you are always supposed to update how you can actually get more success. Theories of management can be developed by studying large number of experience, because some sort of generalization can be possible. So you are supposed to always go with experience, because human is a heterogeneous person, and now through more experience you will understand that how well you can manage those heterogeneous crowd through different ways of experience. From the 19th century to the 21st century, probably cross together the experience and the experiments have been actually occurred. And now also I'll tell you what happens is, every now and then when the generation is coming, the new generation is coming, the approaches of the management is getting outdated. So we need more experience, more experiments, so that we can learn that for the next generation how the management should start. So we'll go with the next one, that is the human behavior school. Human behavior, I told you about the empirical school where people are heterogeneous. Now earlier what used to happen is, you give them more money, they'll start working for you. That is what their theory was. That is, you pay them, they'll work for you. Now what has happened is, the more and more if you start paying only, then they'll work. But there is a limitation. They'll stop working if you don't pay them. Then what happens here is, there is a strike or a lockout. There are only two options. Strike is done by the employees, lockout is done by the employer. Okay, try to understand this. How this behavioral school, that is a human behavioral school, have helped the management to manage those peoples and still work for the success of the organization. If you start increasing their salary, one or the other day what happens is, it is always a barrier for the company. Well, why it is called a barrier for the company? In the sense, the company need to share the profit. Now for the long term, if they start going with the same concept, that is paying more, then what happens is, at one point of a time, people will stop to work if there is no profit at all. So here what is the task for the manager is, you need to give them fair remuneration plus get the work done, which is more. Now what has happened is, more work and fair remuneration. Now it is fine, but try to analyze this, right? Human is heterogeneous, as I told you. He'll always compare what the other company is paying to other employees. Rather, he'll not check what is the work they are doing it. So that's why human behavioral school you are supposed to actually learn. The thing is, the center thesis of the human behavior school is that since management involves getting things done with people, management theory must be centered. It should be what? Centered on interpersonal relationship, that is the relations. Their theory focus on the motivation of individual views. Now, whenever the employee will think about what the other company is doing, what is that other company paying the employee, now what happens is their motivational values will actually come down. Their motivational perspectives will come down. Their motivation is only that they are getting more. Now you need to withstand as well as you need to retain your employees. So what is that you should do is you should always motivate your employees. How to motivate your employees? Just giving fair remuneration and then getting the work done is not the motivation at all. You need to actually tell them if they work more, they'll have promotion. If they work more, they get incentives. If they work more, they'll get some kind of fringe benefits. So what happens is now they don't have time at all to check what the other person are doing. See, here you need to understand, empty mind is devil's workshop. You need to always be a taskmaster to your employees. You should always give them tasks so that they should not even think about anything else apart from doing the work. So that is what the management goes with. Viewed as a socio-psychological being, that is, here human is always what? Socio-psychological being. You are supposed to understand him. This approach can be divided into two groups. One is the interpersonal behavior approach, interpersonal behavioral approach, and group behavioral approach. You need to understand them individually as well as the people who are within the group. Emphasis is put on increasing productivity through motivation and good human relationship. You should always have a very good backup team as well as you need to motivate them and you need to get the work done from them properly. Next, we have a social system school. Now, social system school, what exactly this social system school is? Whenever we go with social, we always think about society at large, isn't it? Now, here, according to this approach, the organization is essentially a cultural system composed of people who work in cooperation. As such, for achieving organization goal, a cooperative system of management can be developed only by understanding the behavior of people in group. Now try to understand this. Whenever we work in a company, what happens is, probably let's divide it in India itself, right? You have people who are working in MNC, multinational companies. Like there are people from Karnataka, from Tamil Nadu, from Kerala, from Punjab, from Manipur, from so many other different places. There are, again, if you divide those groups, you have vegetarians who have and you have non-vegetarians. Now the same way, if you again divide it, you have caste, then you have subcaste, you have again, you have gender, that is a male or a female or the other transgenders. Now try to understand, you have divided all these departments, then understand their culture. Only when you understand somebody's culture, from where they have come, what is their background, what exactly it is, you can understand and then you can work with them. There will be people who are heterogeneous. Actually, I'll tell you, let me tell you, all the people are heterogeneous. There are people who are introvert. There are people who are extrovert. Now, you need to understand their nature and then play with them. Now, what happens is when you start playing with them, in the sense the emotional or motivational, the minute I tell you play with them, that doesn't mean you are play with their heart or feelings. When you are going with giving the task, whether these people can do it. Now, you are the task maker and you are the task master. Now you are supposed to understand their culture, their behavior, their appetite, all those things, and then you are supposed to go for it. That is the big thing what the management does. Now if you have seen the shifts of management, that is morning shift, some people will be adjusted, night shift is there, you have 4 shifts in a day itself. Now you will understand that there are few restricted shifts where you cannot place a woman in that particular shift. The reason being, you need to know the socio-cultural as well as the cultural system. So here you need to understand the social system school identifies the nature of cultural relationship of various social groups and how they are related and integrated. Now, you have seen this RH, regional holidays. Now, there are some socio-cultural groups where you need to actually allow them what they are doing it. Now, example, you have people who are, say, Hindus. Now, they want to worship some particular festival, so you are supposed to give them holidays. You have certain community of Muslims, certain community of Christians, certain community of Buddhists, so many kind of other things. Now, I'm not just giving you about the religion, I'm also want to tell you that how management will affect all these things if you will not notice it, right? The employee always want the employer as well as the manager to manage all these things, and then getting work done is very, very complicated. So let's take the next one, that is the decision theory school. Now, in this decision theory school, you will understand that taking a decision, how difficult it is. You have 4 options. In that 4 options, the best course of action you are supposed to take it. Now, it is very, very difficult. On what basis it is difficult? Because all the 4 options were profitable. Only one of them is more profitable right now. But which is the decision which if you take, it is for a long term. Also, it's always a dilemma whether I need to go for a long term success or a short term success or a medium term success, because business is uncertain. You cannot predict what will happen in the next year. So whenever you go with 4 of the options and in that one you are supposed to take, it's always like opportunity loss. That is, all the 3 whichever were really good, also you are losing it only because of one decision. So taking decision is very, very difficult. In the management, if you once take a decision, now you can't change it. That is what it is. The management is being very rigid. The decision theory school of management concerns on the rational approach. Here you need to always have a rational approach to decisions where alternative ideas or courses of actions are analyzed. You will analyze them and then take a decision. The decision is a central force. So you need to actually focus on one kind of a decision. The major emphasis of this approach is that decision making is the job of every manager. So who will actually go for it? It's the manager, and he is the person who will decide what to be done. The manager is a decision maker and the organization is a decision making unit. Please understand, who is a decision maker? The manager is the decision maker. What exactly we call the organization has? We call the organization has decision making unit. Therefore, the basis problem is managing is to make a rational decision. Very, very difficult is what? To manage and to make a rational decision. But here in the school, we'll understand how to leave things and then pick one proper decision and then going forward with the same decision. And the last school here we have is the mathematical school. Now, one of the book of Kuntz has suggested and he has given an example of mathematical school where he says mathematical school is not a school, it is a tool. Now, here you need to understand the approaches of mathematical school. Here they say that the manager should not just think about the social, human, all these aspects and the empirical kind of school. He should also go with the operational research. And then he is supposed to understand the behavior as well as he need to know that what exactly happens to the managers as well as the employees if the mathematical school of approach is not maintained properly. The management actually views the system of mathematical models and processes. You need to understand the mathematical models here. This includes operations researchers. You should always go with the research and management scientists. Now, what exactly the management scientist does? They are the one who actually go with so much experience as well as experiment where they'll understand the mathematical approach of how to make a person motivated so that he can work and get the work done efficiently and effectively. But Kuntz always points out, as I told you, that that in his view, mathematical is a tool, not a school. So these are the things which you are supposed to know. I've told you about the different schools of management, and you are supposed to write. If you get a question called what are the contribution of Kuhns, then you are supposed to list out all the 6 schools here. Thank you so much. If you have any doubt, students, you can actually call us. We are always there to help you. I'll see you when I see you.